Hey, this is Mike. I'm here. It is in the evening and I'm ready to go. Ready to deliver a message tonight. For those of you that have not tuned into this channel before, my name is Jeff. Michael Jeff, sometimes I go by. Sometimes just Jeff because I have kind of two first names. But for those of you that don't know me, this is the yoga channel, the Yoga Lounge. I call it, that's how it all started out. But it branched out and it varied into some different themes. And so we do have a lot of practical approaches to life, how to maintain your equilibrium throughout your everyday existence, using relaxation techniques, meditation, yoga, and also I have been a Christian for all my life. So lately, with the situations in the world that have been escalating and going up and up and up and up, I found it necessary to bring some of my Christian background into some of these messages. And so not everybody is into that, and which is totally understandable. And so please understand these are my views and my beliefs, and so whatever yours are, that's perfectly okay. So just take it with a grain of salt. If you like what I'm saying, then comment and say, hey, I go for this, and take it all in. And if you don't, then if you don't like me, that's fine. That's how it goes. You just, not everybody likes you in this world. We go through life every single day. We meet different people. Not everybody likes us. Some people like what we say. Some people don't like what we say. Some people do like what we say. But the whole fact of the matter is that we're just people. We're trying to do our best, and that's all we can do. And we can't worry about it and worry about what people think. The whole idea is not to even care. Forget what you did. Everything you did was the right thing. And just move on through life, going on to the next move. Okay, so I'm going to tell a couple stories here. I'm just going to slow down. Let's take a few breaths. Okay, so let's take a few breaths, and I'm going to try to slow down. And I just try to keep it natural. I keep everything natural, and I like to come across authentic. There's no phony baloney here. I don't try to put on any airs, and it comes out like it is. It does. There's no special choreographing, no major editing here. And believe me, I can do all that. I mean, I can do like 30 or 40 takes and edit, like about 20 or 30 different scenes into the whole thing, and do splices, do transitions, do grayscale, do black scale, do whatever it is, and ever it is, but then it's not believable. It's not really me. So, slowing down, let's take a few deep breaths. Take another deep breath. Bring the shoulders up and let it out. And exhale, loosen up. And we're just here to have fun. And that's the premise of my whole channel. I mean, that's what life should be, fun. And we should try to just do the best that we can with what we have to work with, which is not a whole heck of a lot, the way the world situation is right now, with solar flares, with antagonistic major effects and coming our way from the outer realms of wherever they are. We don't know what it is, but we've got a lot of evil influences. We've got a lot of terrible things going on, terrible people, terrible vibes, people that don't like us, especially if you're if you're into Christianity, or if you have your own special faith, people come against you because they disagree with you. So wars are started because of all this. So things have just escalated and escalated and escalated and escalated to a point where it's just it's beyond belief. And, we're heading into a major election right now where we don't know what's going to happen. We just wonder from day to day, what's next? What's the next surprise? Anybody know? I don't know. Okay. So I'm going to tell a couple stories to start off this thing. And then I'm going to kind of do a recap and what I talked about a few nights ago to where we are today. So let me just start. Once upon a time, there was a fairy tale, and there was a woman named Snow White. No, I'm just kidding. No, okay. Okay, let me just do this here. When I was about like 30, I'd say about 30 years old, I lived in Santa Monica, and I was up in LA. Lived in Marina Del Rey for a while, which is a really nice place. Some of you know where that is on this planet. It's kind of in the Southern California coast, has a Mediterranean climate, and is a very expensive place. But I loved it. That was like I had the time of my life. But I'm just going to tell you about a couple of my friends here and what was going on at the time. I had some struggles around that time. I was trying to be a Christian and to live the life. But however, I had, fleshly desires, and so it was very hard for me. So I still wanted to have fun, and being like the age that I was, like in the 28 to 32 range, and 33, and 34, it was just, it was hard. It was really hard. So I had a lot of friends, and we'd get together in the gym every single night. And we'd sit by the table and we'd talk. So one of them, I had a friend, Randy, he knew the Bible backwards and forwards, slantways and sideways, beginnings and ends, upwards and downs, round and round and round and round, and he would go. So he knew everything. And compared to what I knew I knew a lot, but he would make me seem like a rank amateur. And that's not how we do it. In this kind of thing and studying, we're all at different levels, and it's not all about going to theological school or the seminary or all that. It's about being authentic. It's about being who you are. It's about trusting in your God. In my case, it's Jesus Christ. So this is what it's all about. So I just want to tell a story here about Antoine. This was our friend. He was of the Roman Catholic faith. And as I take a few deep breaths here, he would go around the gym, which was the 24-hour fitness, and he would be preaching. He would preach. He would talk to anybody that he knew about his faith in the Holy Bible, and also the Catholic faith, which he was a major part of that. I mean, so he was really involved in the Catholic Church. I think it was a church over in Santa Monica that he was going to, which is the Catholic Church. I can't remember the name of it, but he would come driving into the lot. He was from the Middle East somewhere, I don't know. I'm not sure where it was over there, but anyways, so he was kind of Far Eastern. He had a little bit of an accent. So this was Antoine, and he would drive. He had his radio blaring of the sermon for the day, and everybody would hear this. I mean, you could hear it, the boombox, and here comes Antoine. There he is. Okay, so we know he's on his way. And this guy, he would talk to anybody that would listen to him. Anybody. And this is a commandment. By the way, the Lord commands us to go out and preach to every single person that will listen to us. And this is a commandment in the Bible. And I just wanted to say that. So anyways, he got to the point with him where he knew he had some weaknesses. He knew he had some drawbacks. He would preach, but he had a weakness with women. Okay, so he had a weakness with women, much like, which is probably my biggest weakness. And I'll stand right here and say that because I believe we should be forthright as Christians or as yoga devotees or whatever we are. But he had a weakness with women, and it really bothered him. He was trying to preach the gospel, and he was very good at it. He knew every single verse backwards and forwards, much like my other friend Randy. So Randy was that's a whole nother avenue. We'll get into that later. And Randy was a very Christian guy, one of my best friends, and I don't know where he is now. He was just an incredible guy. But so I like to talk about a lot of my friends and a lot of stories here. Antoine, one time I went to help him with in the public broadcasting. He was starting a show, a Christian channel on PBS, where he was discussing the faith and bringing up different scriptures in the Bible like I do. He wasn't into yoga, which I was into a lot of yoga too at the time. And so I've been kind of a mixture of yoga and Christianity, and, yoga is mainly, the exercise and the physical, although some people really take it to the extreme in the spiritual philosophies of yoga. So anyways, Antoine went on, and he, every day, I was just amazed at this guy, and I agreed with everything he said. So it was like, he would talk to me, just to have somebody listen to him, he would talk to me, and he would go over the top. Even when you didn't want to hear him, he would talk about it. And by the way, that's kind of like what I do. I'm like, if I have a sounding board, somebody that's going to listen to me, I just go on and on and on and on and on. And that's probably not good. So, but anyways, he went on to keep preaching. And I helped him on that broadcast, and he had about like 10 shows, which were really good, very entertaining. He had the candles, and he had everything. He was just, he knew everything about the Catholicism and the origins of the church, and all of the stories, and all the way dating back to ancient history. So what happened is he ended up, and I found after I moved down to San Diego, to Encinitas, where I was talking about before, where the Self-Realization Center is, I got in touch with Randy. We sent some emails and text messages from now, and he didn't like to talk on the phone, so I had a hard time getting a hold of Randy. But he told me what happened to Antoine. Antoine was so disturbed at his weakness and his, falling. He felt he was falling into sin with this weakness with women and this kind of thing, that it detract. He was so upset with himself as his relationship to the Lord, to God, that he felt so guilty. And this was a problem even back when I knew him. So this was almost like about 7 or 8 years later. And so as I found out later from Randy told me, I said, well, how's Antoine doing? Is he still a fanatic around the gym over the 24-hour fitness? And Randy said, no, he's dead. He killed himself. I said, what? I was just shocked. He said, yeah. He says, I'm just so sad by this. And he said, he hung himself. And it just hit me, and I said, why? Why, it's like, it's a, suicide. Why would, because he was so upset with this weakness that he would rather than be weak, he would rather go to heaven and have this burden of this weakness taken away. So that's what happened to him, and it was, so he actually killed himself. He hung himself in his apartment, and it was a terrible story. really. So I just thought that's my first thing that I want to bring up, that I wanted to talk about. And we're going to just jump right into things here. And I want to, real quickly, I don't know how much time I'm going to have. I want to show you guys something. I'm going to switch the lights on here and get everything a little bit lighter. I know a lot of people say, I can't see that guy. How come it's always so dark? I'll tell you about that. Well, a lot of this, I like to do these videos, like real quickly, in kind of an improvisational, being myself. The first thing that I get is always the most sincere and the most logical, even though there's a lot of mistakes, there's a lot, and everybody does that, and that's in the movies, they just go over and over. And I used to be an actor and was in a lot of different commercials and things, and they would just take over and over and over, you stand on your mark, they get the best lighting, the best everything. But to me, it's not all about that. It's about, it doesn't matter if something's a little bit off. Maybe it was supposed to be that way. Maybe it was supposed to be dark. In the video that I did the other day, where I was playing the music, playing a guitar, singing Amazing Grace. And it just happened to be early in the morning, and the lighting was very dark, the way the camera caught me. There was a line in the song. It said, I was blind, but now I see. And so that darkness kind of lended itself to it. So anyway, that's kind of the reasoning behind that. I went off on a tangent again, so I'm just explaining. And by the way, you should never have to explain yourself. That's another thing. I try to make that a practice. I just say what I say and let it be said. So this was a miracle that happened to me yesterday. I've been feeling a little bit depressed, especially today, especially even part of yesterday, and I don't know why. This, talking about Antoine, my Catholic friend that, and what happened to him. When we're involved in the gospel, and we're commanded to go out and preach to everybody and to tell them of the faith, and to, whether they like us or not, it's not an easy path. The spiritual path, when you wake up, when we wake up, when I woke up, it's not a basket full of Easter eggs or a bowl of cherries. It's a very difficult path. People don't like you. People come against you. They sense your light. They have darkness. They don't like you at all. And so nobody listens to you. And so I was just thinking yesterday that, who's listening to me? I mean, they don't really want to listen to me. Who cares? They don't care. And I was starting to feel like, why do I do this? Why am I still continuing to do this? And it's to no avail. I mean, is it going to prove a point? Because I'm not doing anything for any gain for myself. And so I really was starting to get upset and starting to think, maybe I should just not do it anymore. And I still think, even today, I was thinking like that. I was praying to God, about this. So as I'm really slowing down here. So, and it's okay to get emotional. So you just wonder why you do it, because you're going up against it. You have persecutions, you have difficulties, things come in your life. People come in, there's, like people dying, the world situations. You have accidents that are thrown right in front of you. When you start to get in a spiritual path and you wake up, God brings these things in front of you and shows you different things, and you're much more aware of than when we're not woken up. You're kind of in a dream state in the illusion of Maya, which is, like you're just having fun and you're oblivious, like 80% of the population, they're oblivious to everything of the population. So anyways, I was so upset, and should I just give it up? I mean, what's the point? I don't have that many views. I mean, I'm looking at it and thinking, I'm looking at all these other, people, they got 4,000, 20,000, a million views, and I'm thinking, I want to be authentic, and everything, I want to have every view is a real view. So I don't want to, I don't want to make it look like I have this super popular channel and all this stuff, and so I'm thinking, is it really, ordinarily, under ordinary circumstances, I would probably just give up. And that's what the devil wants you to do. The evil, or shall we say the evil, where that all comes from, which is really, it comes from the demons and all that that are up there every day. They're out there. They're coming against you, and they want you to stop. They don't want people to know about some of this stuff. Because they want to perpetuate this world into the illusion state, keep everybody blinded, because they only have so much time before this world comes to this planet is finished. And there is that time that God has that appointed. He gave Lucifer a certain amount of time. He was originally cast out of heaven. He was one of the most beautiful, like I said before, I was talking about it in the original videos, he was one of the most magnificent angels that there was. And God had put him into, he was in charge of the airways, of the music. That was kind of his, where he really, shall we say, shined. And so I think, and God had different angels to do different things, and archangels and what have we, and that was his. And so, but he said, I want to be better than God. And why can't I be like God? And so this and that, that's what started this whole thing, wanting to be better like God or better than God. And it perpetuated this cycle of ego, the ego. So he was cast out of heaven, and God, from all my studies and research, and believe me, I don't have the absolute answers, but this is just from what I've learned, and my spirit tells me. So he was given dominion over the earth for a certain amount of time. And so this earth, they only have the demons, they only have a certain amount of time. So that's why things are just escalating and escalating and escalating right now. And the evil is getting worse and worse and worse. And there's less people that are taking a stand for God and what is right. More people are standing, more people are being silent. Shh. They're not saying anything. And so what happens? What happens? The evil wins. That's what happens. So anyway, so as I was kind of despondent yesterday, and I'm usually, I always get myself right out of it. It doesn't last very long. What happened? Me and my girlfriend, and I went into Starbucks to the coffee place for an afternoon coffee. There was nobody there. Nobody there. Not a seat. No, I mean, there was two people over in the left-hand corner, and all the other seats were empty. I went and ordered a tall pike coffee, and like I usually do, and waited for my girlfriend to come in. By the way, her name is Deborah. So I was sitting at the table, and I noticed there was a book. There was a book on the table, and I looked at it and I said, I wonder who that book belongs to. I don't know. Or it looks kind of like a dictionary or something like that, or, whatever. And so I said, no, so I was kind of being introspective, and I said, should I take it back up to the, I don't know, I'm just looking at it. And, so I went and asked the people that were sitting over the other table. I said, what would you do? They said, well, they said, we don't, we didn't. I said, did you see anybody in here in the last 2 hours? I just got here about 20 minutes ago, and I've seen the book there. Did you see anybody that had that book, or anybody around? They said, no, we didn't. We've been here for 2 hours. And I looked, I wondered if there was somebody in the restroom or somewhere. And but anyways, on that table, so I'm looking at this book. Is it a dictionary? What is it? So I said, I didn't want to go and touch it because maybe it had, or whatever, maybe it had, it was somebody else's book. I didn't know. But, and anyway, so I went over and I kind of looked at it. And anyway, so I asked that other couple, I said, what would you do? And they said, they said, we don't know whose it is. Nobody came back for it, or what have we. So they said, they said, we're not going to be the judge, but it's up to you. They said, I would just maybe take it. So I waited a little bit longer, and then nobody ever came in. So I looked through it, and here it is. It's a Bible. So I don't know where it came from, and it's a beauty. There was not one etching. When people have a Bible, usually there's markings in it. And there's highlights, or they have a name somewhere. And like this, there's nothing. All the pages were brand spanking new. Mint condition, and furthermore, it wasn't from the Target or the Walmart. It was from somewhere over in LA somewhere. And I don't know. So, I took it, and then somebody comes back for it and said that, that was my intention, to give it back to them, or to really not do anything, but I felt it was a sign. So in my mind, my spirit's telling me that an angel left that for me. On that table, this book, you can see it right here. It's a Holy Bible. The Legacy Standard Bible, the Legacy Standard Bible, and not a mark in it. And so this is very special. This is a sign. So had it hadn't been for this, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe it did belong to somebody, maybe they just left it there, maybe it was some missionaries or somebody or whoever, but how many people would be, let's be serious, would be going into a Starbucks and leaving a Bible? How many people are reading the Bible in Starbucks? Let's get real. They're usually looking at their phone, or whatever. They're looking at something on their, email, or something on the internet, or their laptop, or the books. If they're books, they're not the Bible. They're something else, or whatever. But how many times have you seen somebody reading a Bible in Starbucks? And furthermore, and when nobody at all was there? Okay, so this is what happened. So anyway, this is like a sign from an angel or something that left that there for me. And had it not been for that, I probably might have stopped doing this and just stopped doing this channel. But I got this, and I figure it's a very special gift. Anyway, so let me move on. We're going to cover some things here tonight. I'm going to make it a little bit lighter. And I just want to do a little bit of go over a couple different verses. We talked about there is no fear in perfect love, which is John 4:18 the other night. So perfect love casteth out fear. We also talked about the faith of a mustard seed, which is in John 17, verse 20. We talked about love thy neighbor as thyself. So these were kind of some of the themes that I've been talking about. And for those of you that haven't been with me for the past week or so. So we talked about a lot of things in Matthew, a lot of things in John, a lot of things that applied to faith, love. Strength through weakness was another big topic, which was my last message. So when we are weak, we are strong. So this kind of goes what Paul was going through in the church of Corinthians, the church of Corinth. And so Paul, much like my friend Antoine, he prayed that the Lord would send a messenger to put a thorn in his side so that he would not boast of his ego and be doing it unto himself, where he would preach the gospel. It wouldn't be coming, the people would believe him if he was weak, so that he would not boast of from his own ego. So that he would not be boastful. So he prayed, and then God sent a messenger to put a thorn in his side. Nobody knows what that thorn was. A lot of the scholars and educated people have tried to guess, what was that thorn? Was it was it an arrow? Because in those days they had bows and arrows. Was it a rock? Was it did he have a major calamity that happened? Did somebody injure him in the stomach? Did he have like a severe pain there? Was it a psychological dilemma, or what was this thorn? But so Paul suffers, and we talked about a little bit of that. So he was weak, but he became this incredible, strong person. And eventually, at one point, he was blinded. And we'll get into that at some point later on the road to Damascus. So I'm going to go over some verses tonight, and I talked about real quickly, and then we're going to close this off tonight. And I'm going to use this Bible that I found to illustrate that. And in a couple days, I'm getting a new podium. So it's going to make it a little easier for me so I don't have to be like throwing papers all around over the place. So let's see. Okay. Let's go with these. It's a little bit better here. I want to read just a couple things, and I'm going to try to close this. I think it's almost been like half an hour already. Okay, so we're going to read the rich young ruler. So let's turn to Matthew 19, verse 16 through 26. Okay, and so I'm just going to read a few verses here. So what was happening here is that Jesus was talking to this rich young ruler, okay? And so he asked him, "Why are you asking me what is good?" Then he goes on to say, "There is only one who is good. But if you wish to enter into life, keep the commandments." Then he said unto him, "Which ones?" And Jesus said, okay, and get this, he said, "You shall not murder, you shall not commit adultery, you shall not steal, you shall not bear false witness. Honor your father and mother. You shall love thy neighbor as thyself," which was, of course, we saw that in some other places in the Bible, in Matthew 22, love your brother. So the young man said unto him, "All these things I have kept. What am I still lacking?" Okay, so Jesus said, said unto him, If you wish to complete, go and sell your possessions and give to the poor, and you will have treasure in heaven. Come and follow me. But when the young man heard this statement, he went away grieving, for he was the one who owned much property. So, I mean, this man was a rich man. He obviously had a lot of, back in those days, it wasn't like cash today. It was a whole, everything was different. So Jesus said to him, he said unto him, If you wish to complete, go and sell your possessions, give to the poor, okay? And you will have treasure in heaven. Come and follow me. But when the young man heard the statement, he went away grieving, for he was one who owned much property. And Jesus said to his disciples, Truly I say unto you, it is hard for a rich man to enter the kingdom of heaven. And again I say unto you, it is easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God. Okay, so then when the disciples heard this, they were very astonished and said, Then who can be saved, Lord? And looking at them, Jesus said unto them, With people this is impossible, but with God all things are possible. So how many of you have ever tried to thread an eye of a needle? It's really hard, isn't it? Have you ever sat there with that thing and you're just like trying to put it through this little hole for like, it took me like one time, it took me an hour. And my eyes were tired. I mean, I just, I threw the whole thing out of the window. I mean, I was so frustrated. And so it's almost impossible. So he says, it's harder for a camel to go through an eye of a needle than for a man to get into heaven. And we're going to get into this verse a little bit later on how this applies to our modern day society and what's going on with all the evil, and how broad is the way and narrow is the gate that leads into heaven. Broad is the way that enters into deception and illusion, and narrow is the gate that leads to freedom and to glorifying God and being with God in heaven. Narrow is that gate. It's harder than for a camel to go through an eye of a needle. And that is so that statement goes beyond time. And if you think about it. So let's go to my other verse that I want to talk about tonight. Okay, so this is John. This is the one I was telling in my preview. I don't know, some of you might have seen that this afternoon. I was just telling what I was going to talk about tonight. So let's turn to Matthew 16, 24 through 28. And I'm going to close on this verse, and then we're going to call it quits for tonight. And then I'll be back tomorrow night with something else. I don't know what it is yet. I don't know what it is. I just go with the flow. Maybe it won't be anything. Maybe it'll be just some exercises or something, and yoga, whatever. Let's read this and let's go on. I hope that this camera doesn't cut out on me like it did the other night. If it does, I'll have to do 2 parts again. That's what happens. Something cut me off the other night, right in the middle of this whole thing. Okay, so take up your cross and pick it up. Carry your cross. The Christian path, like I was saying at the beginning, is a very difficult journey. The yoga path, the spiritual path is not an easy path. As I said, you got everything coming at you, and you've got to put on your shield, you've got to put on your armor, you've got to be strong, you've got to be forthright, you've got to be authentic, because if you're not, then you're under the state of deception, and it's just you won't make it. It's just the Christian, the walking the talk is so hard, and we all know. I know that I'm still a sinner. We are, as long as we're in this, I don't care who it is on this planet, we're still sinners. And the only way we have to except what Jesus has done for us. That's the only, God knew this. God knew that was the only way to get into heaven. It's harder than for a camel to go through an eye of a needle, because man was sin. He fell into sinful nature. It all started with Lucifer as he was cast out of heaven. So God knew about this, and from the very beginning. And so we have to repent. We have to pray, incessantly pray. I do this every day. I have to say, look, Lord, help, and like Paul did, keep me from temptation. Keep me, and if I do happen to sin, then may you bring me back so that I might not boast within my sin or within my ego and then completely fall away from the path and become lukewarm or cool, which happens to many Christians. So let's read this, and I gotta hope I have enough time here. Okay, so Matthew 16, verse 24. Then Jesus said to his disciples, if anyone wishes to come after me, let him deny himself, take up his cross, and follow me. For whosoever wishes to save his life will lose it. Okay, but whosoever loses his life for my sake will find it. For what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and forfeits his soul? Or what will a man give in exchange for his soul? Okay, so it goes on to say, for the Son of Man is going to come in the glory of his Father with his angels, and will then repay each one according to his deeds. Truly I say unto you, okay, so he's saying, I say unto you, there are some of those who are standing here who will not taste death until they see the Son of Man coming in his kingdom. Okay, so he's telling that in order to do this spiritual walk and this Christian walk, we actually have to put the cross, carry our cross. We have to live the life, walk the walk, talk the talk, and put on the full armor of God. And that is the only, that's when Jesus was not, I wanted to just go back into this one point. Jesus was not nice, necessarily. People paint this picture of him like he was this, everything is love, no matter what people do to you. Love them, okay, they did that, and they were murderers, they were stealers. Love them anyways, everything is love. No matter what your brother does, love them. No, Jesus was not like that. Jesus went and he threw over the money changers in the temple, threw over the tables. He scattered the doves. He was violently mad with righteous anger. That's what they call it, God's anger. And there was many times when he, talking in metaphor and parables, he would say to men, have you not followed me, and have you not followed me and my Father in the kingdom? And he would tell it to him like it was, like honestly, like authentic. He was not in many places in the Bible, and we'll talk more about some of those other places where he was talking with the apostles and whatever, and where he was just not coming from a nice place. But then again, he was extremely humble. He was extremely humble, and he came from a place of niceness. And we'll talk about John 3:16 through 18 at some later point, and maybe this week, maybe next week. I don't know when I feel spiritually led to talk about that. It's a very deep verse. But anyway, he was not nice. Jesus, he was 100% God and 100% man, the only sinless man that ever lived. The only sinless man that ever lived. But he conveyed his message with vengeance and with ferocity, with and that kind of a thing. not always, not always what modern society paints you. Oh, Jesus is somewhere up there, and he's in the clouds, and we're gonna see him coming down in the clouds, and we'll look here, we'll look there, and there's Jesus there, that's not who Jesus is. It's going to be false, and everybody will fall for that. And so let me just backstep a little bit. So this is I'm getting carried. This is my faith. And some of you may not come from that same place. And once again, and that's okay. Wherever your faith is, all of and all of the philosophies, they're kind of intertwined, and even in a lot of the yoga literature, they bring a lot of Christian scriptures into that. We don't know. We as in a human body, we're very limited in our. We think we know, but we don't really know. So that's where we have to come to a place of humility. And but we have to put on the shield of faith, the full armor of God, so that we can abide and we can walk in His footsteps and have that strength that emanates through us while we are weak. Only when we're not when we're prideful, not when we're watching Monday Night Football and we're saying the 49ers or whoever is the best team and. But I'm also, I also go to church, on Wednesday night too, and I sit up in the front row, and I raise my hand to give praise to God. I give to the church. This is not what it's all about. It's about living the life. It's sacrifice. It's giving up your life for Christ. And this is what. This is the place that I've come to, and it's very difficult for me. And sometimes honestly speaking, I just want to give up, but I don't, because I get, things like this, miracles like this happen. And anyway, so let's pray. And we're going to close here. So, Lord, I just want to thank you for this night, and please, God, help this world and help these leaders on our, to help people to get along on this planet. Whatever, I know it's everything's according to your will, but whatever you feel that you need, if you can intervene, because this planet is not in peace. Everybody's against each other right now, Lord. And I just pray for the leaders of this country. I pray for the president right now, President Biden. I pray that, who's ever going to win this election, I pray for them that, and it will be the right one. So I just pray that thy will be done as it is in heaven, it is on earth. I pray in Jesus' name, amen. All right, so I'm going to close tonight. Good night for now. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow night. So checking out.